Support comes from Motherlode. Recently featured in Vogue magazine as one of the top vintage spots in Atlanta, this 10,000 square foot space features over 60 local curators and artisans who offer a variety of items from designer to kitsch and from antiques to modern. Located on Covington Highway in Avondale Estates, the store is open daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Browse, shop, attend an event, or wander around and get inspired. Learn more on Instagram at Motherlode ATL.
Welcome to the ATL Arts Collective, powered by ArtsATL. This is your home for the stories, voices, and visionaries defining Atlanta's creative community. I'm Kim Droves. Today we're doing something brand new, our very first themed episode. We're diving into all things art and the World Cup. Atlanta is stepping onto the global stage, and our local art scene is leading the welcome party. Coming up, we amplify the incredible artwork created for this historic moment, and we'll meet some of the minds behind it. But that's not all. As you already know, each week I'm joined by a rotating co-host, someone you may already know, or someone you're about to be very glad you met. And today, I am thrilled to welcome storyteller and community builder Sundiata Rush, the creator and producer of Tales of Downtown Atlanta. Part podcast, part art exhibit, and part old school mixtape, this series is an audio-visual anthology of our city. Featuring short stories written, voiced, and visually amplified by notable Atlantans, the series offers a spirited tour of historic downtown locations, influential legacies and people, and important events from the past, all while introducing the world to Atlanta's soul. Hi, Sundiata. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Kim. Happy to be here. It's exciting to be part of the first theme show. Yeah, the World Cup and all the things happening in the city related to that is a cool topic to chat about. I'm ready to dive into it. Let's get the party started.
Oh, I'm so excited. And you are such a perfect co-host for this because your mind was much further ahead a couple of years ago, and you were already thinking about the World Cup when Tales of Downtown Atlanta started to percolate. And I'm so excited to talk to you a little bit more about that just later in the program. But first, let's take a look at what else is coming up today. We'll discuss the amazing Atlanta murals created in support of the World Cup. Plus, we'll hear a story about Centennial Park from Sundiata's Tales of Downtown Atlanta.
Later, we'll learn about the Atlanta Cultural Exchange, our city's creative hub and cultural platform during the FIFA World Cup. Then, a look at Footwork, Where We Gather, Sheila Pre-Bright's new photography exhibition that explores the devoted fan bases and tradition of Atlanta's sporting communities.
Plus, ArtsATL's senior editor Isadora Pennington talks to artist Nick Turbo Benson about his Waffle House mural. And ArtsATL executive editor Shane Harrison shares his picks for this week's Best Bets.
But first, in preparation for the World Cup, the Atlanta Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs and Downtown Atlanta, Inc. commissioned a combined total of 21 murals. Arthur Rudick, the creator of the Atlanta street art map and a regular contributor to ArtsATL, recently spoke with some of the artists behind the new work and brings us this story.
To put things into perspective, there are 8.3 billion people on the planet, and on July 17th, 1.6 billion of them will be watching the World Cup's final match. This is a big deal. Even though Atlanta is only one of the 16 North American host cities, the World Cup is still the biggest international event to come to Atlanta since the 1996 Olympics. So, how can our city look its best for the estimated 500,000 visitors who will come to Atlanta? And how can we tell them our story? A great way to accomplish both is through murals by local artists. The Atlanta Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs is sponsoring 17 murals, and Downtown Atlanta is sponsoring 4 murals. Both organizations are taking the long view of the project. These artworks are not just window dressing for a one-month event. Just like the Olympic Stadium became Turner Field after the Olympics, these murals will become part of Atlanta's permanent infrastructure after the World Cup. As part of my process of documenting Atlanta's murals, I visited many of the walls while work was in progress, and I asked the artists to tell me about their World Cup projects. Charity Hamidullah got her start in the art world as a tattoo artist. This spring, on Windsor Street, just south of I-20, Hamidullah painted Atlanta's largest commissioned mural. We're talking 10,000 square feet, 400 feet in length, and 108 colors. I caught up with Hamidullah in Mechanicsville as she came down from the lift.
So this piece is called Wild Seed, Wildflower. And I wanted to take that idea that this is about love, it's about community, about support, and planting the seeds of that for tomorrow and our future. So throughout the image, I wanted to draw and illustrate larger-than-life people. They're carrying out these acts of kindness and act of love, just setting the intentions for our future.
She went on to explain that she wants visitors to be filled with joy when viewing this mural.
I want them to remember all the kind things that have been done to them or that they have placed upon others. And I want them to be inspired to be more kind, be more loving, and show up for one another.
Hamidullah's mural was a collaboration with Living Walls, and it was inspired by Octavia Butler's novel, Wild Seed. Kyle Brooks, also known as Black Cat Tips, describes himself as a street folk artist from way down in the American South. Brooks is refreshing an existing mural of his on Trinity Avenue at Broad Street titled Sidewalk Circus. Sitting on a 5-gallon Lowe's bucket as an impromptu stool, he took a break to share the mural's origin story.
Well, originally this mural was based on some sculptures I saw in Bogota, Colombia, and that gave me the idea to draw each kind of sculpture and maybe the insides of the sculpture, and then that's all mixed together with kind of like the spirit of a circus. All the colors remind me of a circus. And also there was an original mural on the side here. We don't know who did it, but they said paint stuff around it that's kind of like you but similar. So that's what we did. So my brain and some sculptures and a circus.
In addition to murals, Brooks paints on canvas, writes poetry, and creates sculptures from found objects. Former Girl Scout Melissa Mitchell produced her mural in collaboration with the Atlanta Girl Scouts. In fact, over 100 Girl Scouts helped to paint the mural. This work on 17th Street at Bishop Street is around a quarter-mile long. I caught up with the artist in a nearby restaurant as she was designing the flags for the mural on her laptop. When we spoke, she hadn't yet named the mural, which she explained is all about connectivity.
Being a Girl Scout as a child and now being the girl that other Girl Scouts can look to, and not just from a Scout perspective, but as a woman, a Black woman, a short woman, all the things, but allowing me to take my art off of just gallery walls and bring the art to where people are. And so now it shows the movement of artwork. It shows the movement of culture. Such a moment where Atlanta is on a global stage. I think that in itself makes my heart beat a little fast, because I always said that if I were here during the 1996 Olympics, what would be my mark on society? And so this is not just a moment for the city, it's a moment for the world. And now the world is my stage.
She went on to describe how the mural connects to the World Cup.
Not only will we have soccer balls on the wall, we'll have countries being represented from every flag, and then we'll have the Girl Scouts trefoil on there too. And then what you'll see, one of my subtle ways to connect everyone that's involved is to have a white bouncing line and a small green stripe, and it talks about how Girl Scouts is what connected me to all these different parts of the world and how it prepared me for greater things that are coming. And so the city of Atlanta influences everything, but also Girl Scouts does too.
Mitchell had a lot of help on this mural. It was a true community effort.
They actually had 100 young ladies come paint with me 2 Sundays ago. So their efforts are all over the wall too. So it really has become a community mural. We have people walking off the street saying, "Hey, are y'all painting a mural?" We're like, "Yeah." And literally we've given brushes to strangers and they walk away with, "How can I come back and help?" And so this is bigger than a Melissa Mitchell mural. I've helped all my friends get back just ignited about projects. And so I'm just excited to see art just take a different flight for FIFA and being just a part of history in a beautiful way.
The mural was eventually titled Trefoil Trail. And if you'd like to see more of Mitchell's work, she has another mural a block west on 17th Street. It's an abstract pattern in Mitchell's favorite colors, which she says is all of them. For the ATL Arts Collective, I'm Art Rudick.
You can read Arthur's full story at artsatl.org. And check this out. This Sunday at 4 p.m., Arthur is giving a special street art tour of Little Five Points. Through his website and writing, Rudick has documented over 2,000 murals across Metro Atlanta. And local artist Shadow Dancer has created a mural in front of the Little Five Points pub to celebrate this milestone. Congratulations, Arthur. This is so cool. And if you'd like to join Sunday's tour, there's a link in the show notes.
The Atlanta Cultural Exchange, our city's creative hub and cultural platform during the FIFA World Cup, begins its activations this Sunday. Kim recently caught up with Adrian Jefferson, the executive director of the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs, to learn more about the intention behind the exchange.
We really wanted to make sure, as the world comes here, right, how do we put Atlanta culture front and center on the global stage and make sure that as the world is here, they're experiencing the authentic Atlanta culture of all different types of artists and creatives. And we said, well, what better way to do that than to put all of it in one place at one time for the world to experience and for Atlanta artists to be on the global platform and benefit from that. So that's really the intention behind it. What this is an 8-day activation that is going to happen over a period of 1 month. So it starts June 14th, which is the day before the first match. And it's going to happen the day before each match at the old CNN building on the 8th floor, which is now called the CTR. And what the CTR is doing in that building is also really incredible because it's really like culturally led. So it's already a home for creatives. So we felt like it was an alignment to be on the 8th floor to have our activation. So we'll be in a little over 23,000 square footage of space with different zones. So there's going to be an exhibition zone. There's going to be a performance zone. There's going to be a village marketplace where people can sell their products. There's going to be a music lounge zone for DJing and music listening parties. So we kind of have some of everything. We wanted to make this a multidisciplinary, multi-hyphenate opportunity for all artists across Atlanta, including our international partners who will be here from the different countries during World Cup. So with that said, we have a few things we're doing. The first 4 days out of the 8 days are pretty much commissioned by my office and hand selected with like the different type of partnerships we wanted to see in the space. But the other 4 days is our grantees. So we did an open call to the community. We received close to 400 applications, and it'll be about 250 artists total that will be able to be in the space over the 8 days.
You mentioned that if your work isn't changing people's lives, you don't want to be a part of it, right? I've heard this quoted from you. So when you look back at the Atlanta Cultural Exchange years from now, what would success look like?
I did say that, and I do say that about transformative work and just wanting to make sure we don't miss the mark. I don't want to miss the mark. I want to make sure that people are transformed through anything that I'm able to do to serve. But also beyond that, I think about infrastructure. When we look back, 10 years from now, I believe that things that are the most impactful are the things that are sustained. I don't believe in one-offs. I really don't. I believe in intentional and continual investment. And what that looks like is increased resources, right? And so whether that's money, which of course capital is really important. I think that's physical infrastructure. So like what we need is permanent infrastructure, permanent facility space to continue to have for artists and creatives to operate for the long run. I think also of like educational resources and investment so people can grow and scale so that now what we're putting in place is not just about the generation right now, it's literally about the generations to come. And this infrastructure will be there in place to support them by the time that they're here and activating as creatives, right? That to me is what success looks like. It is long-term change and investment in ways that is measurable.
Adrienne Jefferson, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Okay, let's take a beat and get to know today's guest co-host, Sundiata Rush. He's the creator and producer of Tales of Downtown Atlanta, an audio-visual anthology of our city. Sundiata, how did the idea for the series come about?
Well, several years ago, just seeing all the major change that was happening downtown and knowing that the World Cup was coming, I thought about this idea, this project, and conceived it really as a way to help spur civic engagement downtown and to share interesting things about the area's history and our city's legacy, both for Atlantans and visitors of our city, and also to really offer a creative platform to bring folks together to reflect on community. So we produce audio stories. They're presented by way of a listening party where folks get together and hear these original stories and also engage in related content like spoken word music. Each story has original artwork to represent it. There's comedy and live author readings. So I applied and I received a grant through Arts and Entertainment Atlanta to produce the first listening party activation event. That was in 2024. It was called Reinvention. All of our activation events have a theme related to what's happening downtown. That got a lot of good feedback from attendees in the community. We produced the second listening party last year. That was called Evoke. That was well received too. And we're striving to do a third listening party this year. But meanwhile, we want to share awareness about this project and the content of these stories while all this amazing stuff is happening in town for the World Cup. So we've produced 8 stories. People can check that out on the website at talesofdowntownatlanta.org. We also want to invite people to test their knowledge on local subjects and happenings downtown. So we've got a couple quizzes on our site so people can go out and have some fun with that.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And without giving away the story that you brought for us to share today, can you tell us about some of the other stories that are included within the 8?
Yeah, so we have a nice piece about Madam C.J. Walker and Auburn Avenue and the influence of the Madam C.J. Walker Beauty Shop and its stewards and all the history along Auburn Avenue, which was once dubbed the richest Negro street in the world. It's a really cool story called Extraordinary Beauty Culturalist. It's written by a prominent historian here in town, Lanice Littleton. We also have a look back at Atlanta's train culture and days gone by of trains coming to and from, people looking at trains departing and arriving and all the experiences of trains and the pulse of their energy through the city. This is a personal reflection about experiences in and around Terminal Station, which was one of 2 main train stations in downtown Atlanta, taking people to and from our city, surrounding states. That was written by Maria Saporta. She runs the Saporta Report, longtime reporter as well from AJC. So those are a couple of the stories as well. We've got a wonderful story about the history at Oakland Cemetery, written by the poet Adon Bean. It is a dynamic and layered piece, really looking back on all the history there. So we've got a little bit of everything, a future-looking story about Woodruff Park in downtown Atlanta, comparing the past of Woodruff Park to the present and what might be coming in the future. It's a real fun piece and is animated, and people can check that out on the website as well. So just a little flavor of some of the other pieces that we produced.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I have had the privilege of listening to almost all of them. And I promise you, this is a good use of your time. They are beautiful, absolutely beautiful audiovisual pieces. You'll love it. So, Sundiata, you were thinking ahead to the World Cup before anybody else I personally know. So I'm wondering, what does the World Cup coming to Atlanta mean to you? And what do you hope lingers after it's gone?
The World Cup means opportunity. It's a way to showcase our character and culture to the world and have folks enjoy that and engage with it. It's also a chance for us to pour more love into the city. Atlanta is a wonderful, amazing place. Lots of spirit, resilience, creativity, innovation, but we do have our challenges and flaws, and we need to work collaboratively to improve on that. And so it was great to see how we spruced up and prepared and developed resources and amenities in town to host the Olympic Games back in 1996. And we see some of that same activity happening today as we prepare for the World Cup. I think the task and our collective responsibility is to build those resources and amenities in a way that, makes our city more vibrant, accessible, connected, and maybe more importantly, responsive to the needs and aspirations of all its citizens, all the diversity and demographics. And so, my hope is that when the World Cup is over, there are more platforms, programs, resources, and tangible assets than there were beforehand that can enable us to stay on that path of delivering progress as we continue to grow and evolve as a city.
Well said, Sundiata. Thank you. You mentioned the listening parties that have already happened, and you said one more is coming up in the fall. If someone wants to make sure they're one of the first to know about it, what should they be following? How do they know?
Just stay attuned to our website, talesofdowntownatlanta.org. We're churning to make this happen later in the year, but that's where we will announce the date for that, and people can keep up to date and all the things going on with the project at our website.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Sundiata. So we'll be hearing one of the stories from Sundiata's series in just a bit, but right now, let's get back into World Cup art. Artist Nick Turbo Benson has created a World Cup mural that incorporates one of Georgia's most well-known institutions, Waffle House. ArtsATL senior editor Isadora Pennington recently caught up with Benson to learn more.
Hi, Nick. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us today about your recent mural, ATL Nighthawks at the Diner. It's a really impressive piece.
I'm glad you like it, and thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So for those who haven't seen it, this is a mural that has reprised a classic work by Edward Hopper called Nighthawks, which pictures a scene through the windows of a diner. And this time you've repurposed it through the windows of a Waffle House at night. There's also a nod to a Norman Rockwell piece called The Runaway. The mural is painted in vibrant reds, oranges, and yellows, and it captures the essence and culture of Waffle House, and I think thereby also captures the essence of Atlanta culture.
Yeah, that was the goal. I have always been a fan of Edward Hopper, and specifically that piece, Nighthawks. And when Hopper painted it, he said he was subconsciously depicting the loneliness of living in a big city. And I wanted to take that idea, same setting, same subject matter, but flip it and make it more about energy and connection in a big city.
There's some really cool stories that you tell with all these vignettes of different characters, including Outcast and you yourself as a current present day working adult artist and young you, right?
Absolutely. I wanted to include Outcast because they're so emblematic of Atlanta, and I wanted the mural to feel like both an encapsulation of Waffle House, but in doing so, the city as well. But I didn't want it to feel too much like a Spot the Celebrity kind of mural. So if you maybe didn't recognize Outcast, they could just be two pals hanging out at the diner.
Really cool. Did you have the design idea and then you got the wall, or did you get the wall and then you came up with the design?
So Atlanta Downtown approached me and they actually had the concept of doing a spin on Nighthawks, which I absolutely loved because I love Edward Hopper. So it was right up my alley. So many of the elements of the mural were really just things I was already into. So it was kind of a dream come true project to get to put my spin on the subject matter, and really gave me this sandbox to play around in and add all these fun elements to it. It's not really based on any one Waffle House, but it's sort of everybody's idea of what Waffle House should look like. And Waffle House is one of those places that I feel like everybody has their ritual and their own way of doing it, whether they go late at night or early in the morning, but it kind of feels like the great equalizer where people from all walks of life pass through at some point. And it's one of those places where you can like strike up a conversation with the booth next to you and it's not going to be weird. That's really the vibe I was going for. Just showing the whole city, but in this one little space.
That leads me into another question, which is, what is your personal relationship to Waffle House? And also, what's your favorite order?
I have the whole spectrum of Waffle House experiences. I have the wholesome childhood memories of going with my dad on the weekends when I was a kid. And then I have the college drunken late nights at Waffle House. But my order pretty much is always the same, where I get a waffle and then hash browns covered, smothered, chunked, and topped. And that kind of gives me the whole experience that I need.
So that's been a constant. It's been a kind of a constant presence in your life.
Oh, yeah. You know, sometimes I'll go through phases where I go more than others, but Waffle House has kind of always been there. And I think that's true for a lot of people.
It's also like a cultural institution. And it's one of those places where we joke that when you're looking at storms in the Southeast, you see if the Waffle Houses are still open. That's kind of your metric for how bad the weather is, right?
Right. It's a good litmus test for what's going on in the rest of the world. How's the Waffle House doing?
I love that. Do you have one that you go to more than others?
I'm closest now to the Avondale one where I live, which is right across the street from the Waffle House Museum. It was pretty cool. In preparation for the mural, the folks from Waffle House took me on like a personal tour of the museum over there. And I got to take a lot of photo reference of the old 1950s style Waffle House setup. Like a lot of the elements that are in the mural are from that museum, like the old timey jukebox is there from the museum, and the old school chrome stools. I wanted the mural to feel very ambiguous in its time period. So I liked pulling a lot of the more antique elements and putting that in the composition.
You can see that through line of like, it gives you that nostalgia, right? Which I feel like nostalgia is a big part of this concept, this mural.
It is. Yeah, I wanted it to feel both nostalgic, but also current and modern at the same time. So people could hopefully see things they recognize from their past, or that they might see if they walked inside a Waffle House today, like downtown where the mural is.
Is this the first time you've put yourself into one of your murals?
It is. Yeah. You know, I think the only self-portraits I've done have been very like academic, like look at yourself in the mirror and draw it. But so going back to the Rockwell inspiration, I took one of my favorite pieces of his, The Runaway, where there's a kid sitting at a diner counter next to this cop character. And I inserted myself in, speaking to my younger self there. It was interesting doing a self-portrait, but it didn't make me nervous like other parts of the mural, because if I messed up the likeness on myself, it doesn't really matter. Nobody knows or really cares that much what I looked like. But when I was painting Big Boy and Andre, the pressure was really on in that section to make sure I got the likenesses correct. So the self-portrait was a little bit of a warm-up for that Outcast section.
And when you did the two portraits of yourself, of present day and when you were little, that kind of does that same thing of present day and nostalgia mixing together.
Exactly, yeah. The whole thing sort of has a line of past and present going on, and including the self-portrait section with me communing with my younger self, maybe saying like, hey, look, we're on the side of a Waffle House. Look where we are now. I don't know.
I love that. Do you think young you would be proud?
I think so. I think he would be a little frustrated that there weren't more like aliens and dinosaurs in the mural, which is part of why I gave him a little Godzilla toy.
You got to throw those Easter eggs in, right?
Exactly. A lot of my interests got to find its way into the mural, including Godzilla.
So you have a couple of Easter eggs where people might, at a first glance, miss a couple of the references. So can you tell me about any of your favorite Easter eggs that you've hidden in the mural?
Totally. I think part of the fun of this mural is to just look at it and find them yourselves. But I'll tell you, my favorite little Easter egg is Andre is stacking these creamer cups 3 high, which is a nod to his nickname, 3 Stacks. And he's also, as he's kind of poking them, throwing a subtle A-Town down sign with his hands. So a few little things like that I think are really fun.
Well, I love this piece. I think it's really cool to see this evolution of your style and the references that you have both to Outkast, to Waffle House culture, and to your own personal story are really special. So I wanted to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us at ATL Arts Collective about your new design. And I hope that everyone who's listening has a chance to go check it out this summer.
I really appreciate it. It's been great talking to you too. And I'm glad you like the mural.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, thanks, Isadora.
Sundiata Rush is our guest co-host today, and he's brought us a story from his Tales of Downtown Atlanta series. Sundiata, what should we know about the park at the heart of Atlanta's Olympics and its connection to the World Cup before we listen?
Yes. So this is a really spirited piece about the influence of Centennial Olympic Park and how it has spurred engagement, activity, and energy downtown, attracting new amenities, destination places in that area since its development in conjunction with the Olympic Games in '96. It's written by way of a personal reflections, and it has a lot of layers to it. You know, it actually dives into the very conception and development of the park, which in some ways was a triumph for our city. You know, initially there was some doubt about what was envisioned at the time, but that has now become destiny of what is a cool and special place. The College Football Hall of Fame, National Center for Civil and Human Rights are just 2 of the many places that have been built adjacent to the park since its emergence. And the green space has become a very popular gathering place for events and concerts where people can hang out, celebrate, and have fun. Before it was there, it really was just like a loose plot of old industrial sites and warehouses, nothing really thriving. So it's really made a substantial difference for the area. Anybody who visits the park will have that sense. It's a must visit place in downtown Atlanta. So the story dives into all of that. I want to give a shout out to the contributors. This story is written by Betsy Riley. She is the current senior contributing editor to The Bitter Southerner and was a longtime editor of Atlanta Magazine. It's voiced by one of our business and civic champions in town, Hala Modelmog, who is CEO of the Woodruff Arts Center. And then the cover art for this story, really good stuff, was done by Chaz Clark. He is a talented designer, artist who specializes in murals, installations, and sculptures. And he brings all of that into the original art piece for this story. So yeah, there is a direct and I think holistic connection with this story and the Olympic Games and now the World Cup. I think in both situations, there was then and there is now this kind of targeted hope and purpose and planning, you know, for our city to look better, be more capable, do big things, right? And the opportunity for us to grow and evolve as a community as a result of that. And so with the Olympic Games and specifically with Centennial Olympic Park, we have grown as a city and as a community as a result of that. And so that is also the roadmap now with what we can do in hosting the World Cup and what happens in our city afterwards.
Wonderful through line. Okay, here is the park at the heart of Atlanta's Olympics.
The Park at the Heart of Atlanta's Olympics by Betsy Riley. With FIFA World Cup 26, Centennial Olympic Park once again welcomes the world. It's always welcomed us Atlantans. Long before the Atlanta Beltline, there was the Olympic Ring, a circular 5-mile-wide area around downtown, where most of the venues for the 1996 Centennial Games were located. Sadly, our city has a poor track record when it comes to revitalizing its urban core. The connector plowed right through Sweet Auburn, permanently dissecting the city and cutting off the reportedly richest black street in the world. Historic Buttermilk Bottom was razed to build the Civic Center, which was upstaged by the Georgia World Congress Center less than a decade later. At Georgia World Congress expansion and the Georgia Dome then demolished Lightning, one of Atlanta's earliest communities, and Centennial Olympic Stadium itself triggered battles with the surrounding neighborhoods of Summerhill, Mechanicsville, and Peoplestown, disputes which echo to this day. However, the Games brought one undeniably visionary project which transformed downtown Atlanta, Centennial Olympic Park. The 21-acre park, initially built at a construction cost of only $28 million, was the nation's largest urban green space created in the preceding 25 years. Formerly, the area was mostly an unremarkable conglomeration of surface parking lots and low-rise industrial warehouses that nobody ever missed. A relatively late-breaking project in the run-up to the 1996 Games, the first phase was built in just over a year. Although the park hosted primarily entertainment venues, sponsor tents, and concessions, not the actual athletic competitions, it gave Atlantans then and now somewhere to gather. Truthfully, it had been a few years, decades, since Atlantans congregated regularly downtown. The Grand Terminal Station, which was literally our railroad town's raison d'etre, had been demolished in 1972. Underground Atlanta's thriving nightlife scene peaked the same year. Grand department stores had begun moving to suburban malls, and though architect John Portman had built revolutionary buildings like the Hyatt Regency there in the late 20th century, his brutalist towers were turned deliberately inward with soaring atriums and futuristic sky tunnels. Atlanta might have been growing into an international city, but where were all the people? At the airport? In the early 1990s, what downtown Atlanta needed was a destination. It needed to be more than the place you went when you had Hawks tickets or problems with your municipal water bill. Centennial Olympic Park filled that void. It was truly the Olympics' greatest gift to our community and vice versa. When the Olympics came here, my husband and I didn't care how much we could have made by renting our house to visitors. We weren't about to leave town. We entered ticket lotteries for 10 events, but only scored passes to the hurdles and weightlifting. Watching marathon runners along Peachtree Street was free. Like so many locals, we couldn't get anywhere near Muhammad Ali, and we watched the opening and closing ceremonies on TV like the rest of the world. However, the new park gave suburban residents like us a reason to ride MARTA. Our family went downtown nearly every day for 2 weeks. While we were there, we took our sons to explore Auburn Avenue and the Martin Luther King Jr. National Historical Park. We rode the glass elevators to the top of the Westin Peachtree Plaza Hotel. We ate onion rings at the Varsity. Mostly, though, we collected pins, toured pavilions, watched free concerts, and visited Bud World at Centennial Olympic Park. Our 4- and 7-year-old sons danced the Macarena with people from all over the world. They splashed in the Fountain of Rings with their cousins. On July 27, we left 2 hours before the bombing. I've got a photo of us and 2 other families with strollers and 6 kids standing feet from the explosion site. We went back. The park was what made the Centennial Olympic Games our Olympic Games. In some ways, the park helped make Atlanta my city too. I worked 2 blocks away in the 260 Peachtree building for more than 20 years, so my co-workers and I sometimes wandered over on lunch breaks. In 2017, we donned cardboard sunglasses and followed crescent moon shadows to the park for a view of the lunar eclipse. We celebrated Galentine's Day at the Parkside Waffle House and cheered at Atlanta United's MLS Cup victory parade in 2018. I crossed the finish line there when I completed my first and only half marathon. If the city had never built Centennial Olympic Park, then the Georgia Aquarium, the National Center for Civil and Human Rights, the College Football Hall of Fame, or even the New World of Coca-Cola might now be in Midtown, or, worse yet, Charlotte. Downtown almost certainly wouldn't have Mercedes-Benz Stadium or be welcoming the FIFA World Cup 2026. The park has been renovated and expanded since the Olympics, most recently with a $2.5 million upgrade to its iconic fountain. In 2020, they added an early believers tribute to Billy Payne and the handful of civic leaders who spearheaded the effort to bring the games here. A concrete column is topped with the Atlanta Committee for the Olympic Games circular bronze logo, a star of 5 overlapping A's, created to brand their fundraising and promotional campaign. In the early 90s, I bought an ACOG t-shirt, more as a nod to the quixotic effort than to help raise funds. I wish I could say that I was an early believer, but I was not. We did not buy a brick. I just could not figure out where all those people would go. But I'll never forget that September morning when my husband and I awoke to the clock radio and heard IOC President Juan Samaranch announce from Tokyo, "The International Olympic Committee has awarded the 1996 Olympic Games to the city of Atlanta." We jumped on the bed and screamed. To skeptics who don't believe Centennial Yards or South Downtown can revitalize the heart of the city again, I say it's never a good idea to underestimate Atlanta. We've always been a city of dreamers.
Thank you, Sundiata. That was wonderful. Let this story inspire you to enjoy the FIFA Fan Festival at Centennial Olympic Park. It's free and open to everyone with 16 days of matches on a big screen, plus live concerts, food vendors, and cultural programming. Events start this Friday, and we'll have a link in the show notes. In just a moment, ArtsATL Executive Editor Shane Harrison joins us with his top picks for the weekend. And then we'll take a look at photographer Sheila Bright's new exhibition, Footwork, Where We Gather. It's on view at the Michael C. Carlos Museum. Back in a minute.
Support comes from Mainline Magazine, announcing its weekend-long independent music festival from September 11th to 13th. The independently curated 3-day event features 22 live acts performing in multiple venues spanning Little Five Points, Summerhill, and Decatur. Headliners include CDSM, Scatterbrain, Janie Danger, Mulus, Jonna Camille, Major, and more. Early tickets and more information are at mainlineatl.com/tickets. And from the It's You ATL podcast.
Hey y'all, I'm Naja Parker, co-host of the It's You ATL podcast, powered by the AJC.
Hey y'all.
Hello.
Ooh, twins.
Twinsies. Where we break down the stories, trends, and conversations shaping Black culture in Atlanta and across the South. From music and entertainment to politics, relationships, and community issues, if it's happening in the culture, we're talking about it. Listen to It's You ATL wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to the ATL Arts Collective. I'm Kim Drobes, here with our special guest co-host, Sundiata Rush.
Hi, Kim. It's time now for ArtsATL's Best Bets with Executive Editor Shane Harrison. This week, his mix includes a group exhibition at the Sunday ATL and music from Selwyn Birchwood and Corinne Bailey Rae.
As we approach both the summer solstice and the launch of the FIFA World Cup, the arts and entertainment options in and around Atlanta are heating up too. As Atlanta welcomes the world for 8 FIFA World Cup 2026 matches, the Sunday ATL presents This Is Atlanta, a group exhibition opening June 11th and running through July 25th at 399 Edgewood Avenue Southeast in the historic Old Fourth Ward. The show includes Raphael Bahendwa's The Beautiful Game, his installation of paintings on round canvases, each depicting a World Cup match ball from a different tournament, transforms a global icon into a celebration of football's history and universal language. You can also see his work at the Rialto Center for the Arts through July 16th. This Is Atlanta also includes a new work by Vivian Hughes, photographs of iconic Atlantans, works by recent Georgia State University graduates, and an entire floor devoted to artists born in, based in, or shaped by the American South. It includes paintings by Purvis Young, a visionary self-taught social expressionist whose work documents the struggles and resilience of the African American experience, alongside works by Panorama Ray Herbert, the photographer and outside artist often called the mayor of Cabbagetown. You'll also see works by Ruth Franklin, Harry Underwood, and Anna Jensen, and prints by Howard Fenster. There's something for everyone in this week's musical offerings. Grammy-winning singer, songwriter, and musician Corinne Bailey Rae brings her 20th anniversary tour, Like a Star, celebrating 20 years of Corinne Bailey Rae, to the Buckhead Theater on June 12th. She'll perform her self-titled 4-times platinum debut album in its entirety, including the beloved classics Put Your Records On and Like a Star. Also on June 12th, Oscar-nominated composer Max Richter kicks off his North American tour at Symphony Hall, following his recent nomination for an Academy Award for the soundtrack to Hamnet. Richter and his ensemble will perform his 2004 release, The Blue Notebooks, and Richter's most recent album, 2024's In a Landscape. The Atlanta Symphony Orchestra continues its celebration of America's 250th anniversary in its Symphony at Sunset series at the Amerisbank Amphitheater on June 13th, with a program of works by Bernstein, Copland, and Duke Ellington. Lap Steelmaster, vocalist, and songwriter Selwyn Birchwood will celebrate the release of his 5th Alligator Records album, Electric Swamp Funkin' Blues, with a live performance at Blind Willie's on June 13th. Rolling Stone calls Birchwood a remarkable contemporary blues man, a powerhouse young guitarist and soulful vocalist. Theater fans should head to 7 Stages for Annie Baker's Circle Mirror Transformation. It's the gently comic portrait of 5 strangers who gather for a 6-week community-centered drama class and end up transforming one another in unexpected ways. Catch it from June 11th through the 20th, and make sure to check out ArtsATL's upcoming review. Full Radius Dance artistic director Douglas Scott founded the Modern Atlanta Dance Festival, the city's first juried festival dedicated to contemporary concert dance in 1993. The festival, hosted annually by Full Radius Dance and running this year on June 12th and June 13th at the Emory Performing Arts Studio, has since become an anchor of Atlanta's spring dance season. Artful ATL is a nonprofit whose mission is to create and curate space and community for emerging artists, emerging collectors, and art enthusiasts. This year's event takes place at the Atlanta Contemporary on June 13th. For the ATL Arts Collective and ArtsATL, I'm Shane Harrison.
Shane curates an even longer list each week, and you can find all of his picks at artsatl.org.
Atlanta photographer Sheila Pre-Bright has a new exhibition on view at the Michael C. Carlos Museum titled Footwork, Where We Gather. This is part of Emory's broader Footwork initiative, featuring exhibitions that celebrate sport, style, and the spirit of a city ready to welcome the world. Kim recently visited the campus to see Bright's exhibition and to learn more about the university's fancy footwork.
Bright's exhibition celebrates Atlanta sports culture and the communities created by the fans. It's an interesting topic for the lens-based artist to explore, considering she's not a sports fan herself, but she explains that she comes from a family of fans.
I always wonder, why were they so excited about this?
Now, after spending time with the communities deeply embedded in sports culture, she sees sports as a vital way to connect people.
I really do believe right now, because the world is going through a change, I think this is reshaping us to get closer together and to connect.
The work she's created for the exhibition drips with joy. Each photograph portrays people celebrating their connection as fans. Andy McKenzie is the curator of works on paper for the Michael C. Carlos Museum, and she's worked with Bright before.
Incredible photographer. She has great talent and very little fear. No fear, really.
Mackenzie, who identifies as a lifelong sports fan, explained that since Bright isn't a fan, it was an interesting journey for both of them.
Her first time out shot some of, I think, the most compelling images in the exhibition, having never shot fans, never taken photographs of sports.
The result was hundreds of photographs.
Whittling that down to something that would fit in the Works on Paper gallery was pretty difficult. So she wants to maybe do a book for the series. And so I think, all these other photos will get their day as well.
This past Sunday, Mackenzie moderated a panel about sports and community with Bright, alongside Soccer in the Streets' Francisco Stenger and Atlanta Influences Everything co-founder Bame Joyner. Stenger's organization believes that every child, regardless of their economic background, should have access to the sport and the vital life skills it teaches. Their approach includes building soccer fields at MARTA transit stations, making the sport accessible to communities that need it most.
You always want to make sure that the kids and youth that we engage with have a space where they can feel not only comfortable playing, but also comfortable getting to know each other, getting to know a coach, finding trust in an adult mentor. And that's something that we value as an organization because we know the importance that some of us adults may forget when it comes to really having fun, finding joy, and just taking some time to play. It's sort of our secret sauce.
There does seem to be something about soccer that brings people together. Joyner says that although soccer fandom wasn't a thing when he was in high school, he's seen a shift among the current generation. He believes that young people are at the forefront of Atlanta's soccer craze.
We're allowing our kids to lead us to soccer, and it's all under the guise of everybody still being their best Atlanta self. It's just a different sport, and it's bringing families together.
The panelists went on to elaborate on community, fandom, gathering spaces, and identity, all of which are captured beautifully in Bright's work. Footwork, Where We Gather, is on view at the Michael C. Carlos Museum through July 19th. And if you're a fan of Bright's, be sure to check out Through Our Eyes, a visual photographic journey, opening at One Contemporary Gallery tomorrow. Bright is producing and curating the collaborative exhibition, which centers on perspectives from communities rarely reflected in global media narratives. Don't miss it. Finally today, a non-World Cup related story, but one that we didn't want to miss. As part of Pride Month, the Atlanta Gay Men's Chorus is back, and this time with their Beyond the Yellow Brick Road concert. ArtsATL editor-at-large Jim Farmer has more.
The show is a collaboration with Yacht Rock Schooner and takes place June 13th in Mableton's Mabel House Barnes Amphitheater. It's a concert honoring the music of the legendary Elton John. According to Donald Milton III, the artistic director of the chorus, John's work is a natural fit for the chorus's sensibilities.
For many people, when you think of gay pop music icons, Elton John is just right at that apex. He's done so much work, not just as a musician, but as a philanthropist for the gay community. His coming out of the closet was such a big deal in 1991. And not only is he an icon in that space, but his catalog is so deep with so many hits. I keep saying that people are upset about the songs we're not doing on this concert. We could do 3 Elton John shows and never repeat a song. And there's also just his relationship with Bernie Taupin, his lyricist. The songs have so much depth. And they're so varied, and they touch on the human experience in a way that few other artists can. So it lets you go on a journey of, yes, these songs are great. Yes, we know these songs, but when you get to hear them this way, you get to listen a little differently and experience them a little differently and feel the lyrics a little differently. I love that experience for our audience, and I love that experience for the chorus. There's tears in our eyes, and then we're smiling and dancing, and it's back and forth, and it's so exciting.
How difficult was it to put this show together?
So difficult. Luckily, I will say that I had great luck that we did on our Queens and Queens show, right? The first half was famous Queens, including Elton John and George Michael and Cher and Whitney Houston. And we did a really great arrangement of Rocket Man. So I reached out to the guy who arranged it, and he sent me 23 arrangements. And he's an excellent arranger. So a big part of it is between him and one other, Dave Mansour. So that's Tim Sarsani and Dave Mansour. Between the two of them, I picked, almost 3/4 of our repertoire. And then our assistant director arranged a song, I arranged a song, and a few others from other arrangers. But part of it is what's going to sound great with a chorus and not just be, this is an Elton John song and it's okay. You know, we wanted great arrangements that feel meaty for the chorus to sing and have, great musical moments that people are going to enjoy. So it's not just, we like this song, but we like this musical experience.
Can you tell us about some of the numbers?
There are tons of hits on here. There's Rocket Man. There's Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, of course, is on there. One of the big openers is The Bitch Is Back, which is fantastic. And then some slightly lesser known ones, like Someone Saved My Life Tonight is a big highlight of the concert for me. A couple lesser known ones, like one called Chosen Family, that it's really become a heart song for us as a chorus. There's so many hits. It's a hit parade in a wonderful way.
Kevin Crumsey has been a member of the chorus for more than 30 years and has always been partial to Elton John's music.
I really feel connected to this concert because of Elton. Elton lived here in Atlanta for, I think, about 25 years. So I've always kind of had a special place in my heart for him for that reason and for his music. But so many of the songs I can really identify with. And one is Chosen Family, because I didn't lose my family when I came out, but many of my peers my age did. It was a choice, and they suffered the loss of that family. I feel like when I sing Chosen Family, I feel very lucky because I retain my blood-related family, but let it be no doubt, I am so thankful to be in the chorus and the friendships I've made here, the relationships I've made here. My best friend, Michael, is a member. Well, all of my good friends. When I have Thanksgiving, I'm inviting them over, and that's all because of the chorus, because that's where I met them. That's where our relationship developed. And so when I'm singing that song, it really, I have to prepare myself not to tear up for it, because they're not tears of sadness. They're tears of joy that there is an option. Everyone doesn't get along with their chosen family. And it says it's okay. It's okay. And there are people out there that are going to love you for you.
Fellow chorus member Matthew Harrington, who is also president-elect of the Atlanta Gay Men's Chorus, believes it's meaningful to present the concert in June.
Going into Pride Month, we're looking for things to celebrate. It's been a rough couple years for our LGBTQIA plus community. And I think singing about joy is always helpful. I mean, I feel like as a gay person, as a queer person, being able to sing that experience through another queer person's music is about as special as it gets, especially when that person is Elton John. I think it's healing to hear. I think that's why Elton is still super relevant, and I think it's really healing to perform as well.
Harrington is excited about the performance and hopes it will be an unforgettable evening for the audience.
They're going to get a lot of sparkles. They're going to get a lot of sass, and they're going to get some really great singing. It's an awesome way, to close out what's our 45th year?
45th season.
Yeah. 45th season. It's just going to be a great time. It's going to be fun. It's going to be joyous. People are going to be dancing in seats. The sound is tremendous. Our soloists are amazing. It's a great set list. I mean, what more could you ask for?
For the ATL Arts Collective and ArtsATL, I'm Jim Farmer.
You can read Jim's full story at artsatl.org.
Sundiata, we have reached the end of the show for today, but before we go, I just want to thank you so much. This has been absolutely delightful.
Well, thanks so much for having me. This was fun. I also want to give a big shout out to you for this show and for being a champion in supporting and shining a light on arts and culture in Atlanta. It's needed. We'd all love to see more of it from other sources around town. And I know for sure this podcast provides inspiration and meaning for a lot of people and creatives in our city. So, Kim, thank you big time for what you're doing with this, and keep doing it.
That is very meaningful, Sundiata. Thank you again. You know, there's so much art happening in the city related to the World Cup. I feel like we barely scratched the surface here. A couple of other exhibitions of note are Lines of Play at ABV Gallery and The People's Game, Soccer and Human Rights at the National Center for Civil and Human Rights. Thank you for listening to the ATL Arts Collective. You can join us on social at ArtsAtlanta as well as at ATL Arts Collective. You'll find pictures and links related to today's episode at artsatl.org/podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please consider buying the podcast a cup of coffee. Learn more about how you can support at atlartscollective.com. Stay with us. I'll be right back with a look at what's coming up next week.
Support comes from Soul Food Cypher, a community-driven freestyle rap experience and educational platform. Visit soulfoodcypher.com to learn about their live ciphers, workshops, and performances across Atlanta and beyond. Join the movement and step into the circle.
Welcome back. While you're listening right now, please subscribe, rate, and review. It really does help other people find the show. Our theme music is K. Michelle Dubois' Hit the Deck from her album Astral Heart, courtesy of Wicked Superb Records. Next week on the show, Jasmine Henschel and E.C. Flaming of Gulch Magazine join us as co-hosts, and Lois Reitzes stops by with a story about wit at Actors Express. The ATL Arts Collective is part of the Wordplay Collective podcast family. Check out our sister show, In Pieces with Our Land, for conversations with artist Our Land. Thanks again for listening. I'm Kim Drobes, and this is the ATL Arts Collective.